Hey, everybody, welcome to the Road to the Summit, the only show that previews the upcoming Broker Carrier Summit in Fort Worth, Texas, presented by our friends over at TAPS. I'm Trey Griggs. This is my co-host, Kevin Hill. Kevin, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's been so long since we talked.
I
It's like
know, it's been
I
like
know,
30
right?
minutes. It's wild. We just
I
did a live
know.
episode of, Dude, What's the Bid with you and Casey. It was great. But we are here, my friend, to talk about the Broker Carrier Summit, which is coming up in Fort Worth, Texas. Your hometown. It's a home game. Are you going to be sleeping in your own bed? Are you going to come to the hotel with us? What are you doing?
I'll probably go to the hotel, right? Because, it's a long drive still, 20, 30 minutes through Dallas traffic to get back home. So I will be there. I want to get the most out of it, right? The
Absolutely. You
best
don't want to have to drive home
experience.
late. You want to have a few drinks
I
if you
know.
want. I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
right? It's the
Yeah.
way it is.
Only if I want, though. Only if
That's
I
right.
want.
Only if you want. This
Yeah.
is exciting. I'm so excited for this edition of the Broker Carrier Summit. We were just talking about this backstage. This is the fourth edition. We had Indy to start off. We had Tampa, which is the first time you and I were involved. We had Kansas City just last April with about 350 attendees. And now we've got Fort Worth. We're almost already to our attendee total for Kansas City, shooting for about 450 in Fort Worth. It's going to be just a phenomenal time. What are you looking forward to the most in this summit?
I think what I am looking forward to the most, because it's been gathering steam in Tampa, in Kansas City. I want to see more deals get done, right? We're bringing in brokers and carriers who want to communicate better, want to understand each other better. And what does that mean? More deals getting done. And you've seen that building, that momentum building over the last year. And I really want to see more deals get done, more intention on getting deals done, finding carriers that are running your lanes, for the carriers, finding brokers who have freight where you need to, and building that relationship and communicating better.
Yeah, deals with like-minded business partners. And it was so exciting last time to have people come up to us during the show and say, I met this gentleman at lunch and he already tendered 4 loads to my dispatcher. And like just seeing those things happen is really cool. Really two sides to the Broker Carrier Summit. One is kind of a Festivus feeling, like airing grievances. What are the problems in the industry? How can we talk about those problems and really just have these authentic conversations and try to tackle them in a way that's actually going to make a difference? And then there's the business side of it. A lot of intentionality behind the programming and behind the agenda to create as many opportunities as possible for brokers and carriers to find like-minded partners with the same type of freight. If you're a flatbed carrier, we want you to find the flatbed brokers. If you're a reefer carrier, man, who's got that reefer freight on the lanes that you're looking for? And again, how can we make more deals happen? So I'm with you, man. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Yeah, you have a lot of events out there that are broker centric, right? So it's 90% brokers, right? Or carrier centric, and it's 90% carriers. And you're talking about your own issues, your own challenges, your own successes. But this is really the only event out there that brings them both together, to where you learn about issues and challenges on the other side, because it's broken down very evenly on the attendee side between the brokers and the carriers.
Yeah, we're working hard to get the carrier number up because really I think the ratio needs to be heavier on the carrier side.
Yes.
One broker can help multiple carriers. One small carrier can probably only help 1 or 2 brokers if they have enough freight and keeping them busy. So trying to get that ratio right, which is really important. And speaking of bringing people together, we've got a great show. We've got some guests on the show today. We might as well get it started off with our first guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them?
Yeah, it's Troy, right? We're starting off with Troy.
That's right.
Over at Winners Express, fellow board member here at the BCS Summit, and the carrier man himself.
I'm already feeling outnumbered by this hair situation already. I mean, this is crazy. We've already talked about this. We may have to do an over/under on a number of bald heads at the Broker Carrier Summit. I'm thinking 50 is a good number.
50 count or 50%?
No, 50 count. 50 people.
Oh, 50 people. Easy. I'm talking 50%.
You think 50% are bald? You go that high?
I would imagine.
I mean, think about this. I mean, there's probably going to be 30% ladies that are going to be there. None of them are bald.
Well, true.
So, I mean, you got to sway it a little bit, I think, in the other direction. I don't know.
In the male population of the attendees of the BCS, I think maybe 50% have a shaved head.
So 50% of the male attendees are bald.
That's closer to 100 people. So would we set the over under at 100? Oh, yeah. Is that what we're saying here?
I think that is the number.
100. We're gonna start taking some bets on this. If you're watching along, and I don't know if anybody's watching this show, but if you're watching along, tell us what you think. Are you taking the over or the under on 100 bald heads in Fort Worth at the Broker Carrier Summit? I don't know, man. That seems a little high to me.
That is a big number. That is
I think I'd take the under. I don't know who's taking the over on that. The odds have to be better for the over.
Okay, well, maybe from an over/under, maybe it needs to be at a 75 range, but I still think it's going to be more than 50. I do think it's more than 50.
Well, we'll have to see. Somewhere between 50 and 100. We'll have to see kind of where we go on that. Okay, so Troy, let's talk about your involvement with this. You've been a part of this from pretty much from the beginning. You've known Dan Lindsay for a long time, Robert Brain. You guys got together and Andy and got that started. What do you love about the Broker Carrier Summit?
Yeah, I tell you what, you're right. Started from the very beginning, and from the very beginning, it was that moment of, are we really doing this? We're going to put carriers and brokers in the same room. We're doing this, right? And
we're doing this.
We're doing it, and we did. And as much as the numbers from the very start were I'll call it nominal at the beginning, especially compared to where they're at today, right out of the chutes, we knew it was something that we needed to do and continue to build on the feedback that you got when you hear the answer saying, hey, I hate brokers. Speaking from a carrier perspective, but I've never met one. Like that's to me from an industry perspective, that's an aha type of moment, right? And it's probably a thing that's troubled us the most, I think, as we try to evolve this industry as a whole and become a better place to work. I'm not naive enough to think that it's going to be perfect, overnight. But from my perspective, as I sit here, I'm working on the representing on the carrier side of things. I'm with Leonard's Express. My role right now is sales and business development, but I've had the opportunity to work from a brokerage perspective at other stops and here on our asset side, our warehousing side. So I've had the opportunity to play in all different facets of the business. So I think that's why it's been so important for me to be involved. Really from trying to, I'll call it just an education piece, a talking piece, really just trying to build out that non-adversarial type of conversations, right? I mean, we know challenging conversations are going to occur, but really being a little more educated on both sides, on what both sides of the house do without trying to sway. And don't get me wrong, I understand there's a lot of things that different folks do out there, but it's an important piece for us to build this thing for the longevity of our industry.
You're exactly I'm just right laughing. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I'm laughing at the fact that you said it's not going to be perfect the first time. I don't think this thing's ever going to be perfect with us running it. I mean, that's just my guess to that. But at the same time, it's important to get it out there. And I always remember this with any product out there, 90% and in the market is better than 100% not in the market. And so we just had to get it started, just had to do it, right? I mean, that's the way it goes.
100% is the enemy of profitability.
Yeah,
you're totally right. And I think going back to that, I'll call it that education piece and communication piece. I think there's just a lot of misconceptions out there, I think, about what each side of the business goes through. And again, as we sit here and we talk about perfection, there's a lot of challenging players out there too. And what we're really trying to do and build upon here is provide a platform, provide a scenario where we've got like-minded folks, even though we may be focused on different parts of the business, being the broker, being the carrier. Yeah, we may have differing viewpoints on our personal businesses that we're running, but how do we work together so we can therefore avoid and get away from, I'm going to call it a lot of the fraud, that is out there in the industry. Let's work with trusted partners, not make every conversation adversarial, and actually look at things from a true partnership. Again, easier said than done, but it had to start somewhere.
Yeah,
and that's what we're looking to accomplish. We're building.
Yeah, I've seen inroads on that. I was doing a session last time in Kansas City, and I think it was a carrier rep was saying, why do brokers always do this? That they hide the address, they do this, they do that. And the brokers answer the question, well, this is the reason why we do this. And why do you guys do this? Oh, this is the reason why we do this. And just having that understanding breaks down a lot of barriers, makes business a lot easier if you understand the perspective of the person on the other side.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge piece there, Kevin. Like So when I cut my teeth in the industry, I cut my teeth on a pure brokerage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've shared this with many of folks over the years, and even at broker carrier summits in the past. I didn't know anything about what goes on the trucking side of the business. And what I mean there is the costs that are associated with it. Now, my mindset was, hey, how do I make a margin, right? And how do I make as much money as I can? And I'm not saying, listen, you can make as much money as you want. I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about is making sure we both understand, the costs and the risks that I'm going to put my trucking hat on right now, right? We as a trucking company have, and that we have to get through as well. So there's finding that middle ground between being a broker and a carrier to how do we find that right mix that benefits both of us? Again, that takes time, though. I'm not naive enough to think it happens overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of convincing, and a lot of education. And I think those are things that you're going to hear a lot about coming up to this broker carrier summit on both sides. From, hey, what are things that brokers do to justify what they do? What are carriers do on their side, on the reason that they're asking for X amount of dollars on a particular lane? That doesn't mean it always works. It's not an emotional conversation. It's an educational conversation.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And taking a load off a load board versus working with a partner that the process usually is different. You probably get the information up front a little bit faster and just understanding how that works. There's a lot to talk about, Troy. I'm so excited that you're a board member, that you're part of what we're doing here, and that I can't wait to see you in Fort Worth, my friend. And
it's going to be outstanding.
We're gonna move on to our next guest, man. But again, thanks for being on the board, and thanks for getting a nice clean cut. By the way, I just saw the Leonard's branding there in the background. Nice work there. We need to make that a little bit bigger so everybody can see it. I just throwing it in.
just throwing it in there.
I know we need to wrap that cabinet with lens. The whole cabinet needs to be wrapped. That's what you need.
On the agenda, I'll get with the marketing folks just so we can make that happen.
Troy, we'll see you down in Fort Worth, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Be safe. Great to see you guys.
Yep.
Take care.
Kevin, it's interesting because you think about that. Like the big part of the Broker Carrier Summit is just getting the right actors, the right players in, and keeping the bad players out. It's almost like having a party, and we're getting the invites to the people that are going to not trash the house, and keeping the people that are going to trash the house, keeping them out of the party. And that's a big part of what we're doing and the network that we're creating there for sure.
It is. You have good and bad actors, and then you have really interested, growing actors, right? And people who just don't really care. They're just and those people aren't showing up. It's the people who care about the growth, care about communication. And one of those people is our next guest. It's Michael Lombard at Lombard Fit Motor Freight.
What up,
Michael
Lombard? How you doing, buddy?
Truck.
Man, I'm glad to be here. What's up, guys?
Dude, it's good to see you, man. One of the big emphasis at the Broker Carrier Summit is like, how can we help carriers have a better experience out on the road? We're going to talk about truck parking. We're going to talk about just some of the things that they have to deal with on the road. But one of those in particular is fitness. And man, if there's anybody who knows about fitness behind the wheel, it's you, man. You're going to be on a carrier panel. Talk about your excitement about the event and what you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, this is the type of event I get really excited for, and kind of channeling off what the previous guest was talking about is when you get people with these types of mindsets together to make the type of connections that are. I posted about this on LinkedIn yesterday. This is an industry that is very much a people business, but a lot of the communication, especially since COVID, has gone even away from the phone and has now become so digital. And it essentially the industry yearns for human to human interaction to build these relationships. I mean, we're almost finding it like going backwards with technology. And I've used this before, like almost like with the rise of AI, like we're going to come to a point to where you're going to need to be at a live concert to know it's live, because you're going to be able to make a video of what a live concert could be. And so we're almost going back. Like at one point, the only way to listen to music was to go see the music, like a piano player or an orchestra. And now you can see it in video. Now AI's doing it. Now we're doing the same thing with business. Like everything used to be face to face. Then we had phones. Then we had email. And then now we have digital load boards. And now we're almost going back. We need to have more human to human interaction. And you see what the results are from these events is the business conducted, the people doing business on the spot, building those relationships, but also on my end, to be able to get myself out there and talk about these other important things because I believe it's the foundation of what can really make the industry better is keeping the participants in this industry healthy while they're on the job.
Yeah, and you make a good point about the live interactions, because you're absolutely right. We can watch a video now, and we're not sure if it's actually authentic. We can listen to music now that sounds just like the artist, but it's not them. So being in person is the way to know that it's authentic. And I think we're in many ways moving back to that. The value of in person has grown as technology has increased. It's moving back in that direction. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a slam dunk cast of people who are going to be up at this event. For anybody out there who's like interested, I believe, like, I'm speaking strictly from the driver POV, and as somebody who's owned a truck before and whose family owned a trucking company, it's like you said at the top of the show, it's invaluable for anybody who's a business owner, entrepreneur, to go out there, because as you said, brokers can help multiple carriers, but carriers can only do so much, because depending on capacity. So it's so invaluable to make these human to human, connections with brokers, show face and meet, and how invaluable it's going to be. But when it comes to the panel, that speaking on, what a slam dunk cast of people who also care about the health of the industry, like Evan Shelley and like Adam Wingfield. These are guys who have, to my face, and I've got to see them at the last Broker Carrier Summit, tell me how much they support my message and my mission out there. Because at the end of the day, we can want to build these connections and relationships all we want, but if you aren't taking care of number one first, because you can work, you can grind and do all these hours, but if you're not taking care of yourself, whether you're over the road or you're driving a desk, as a broker, then eventually things will start to deteriorate. And I'm happy to be able to bring some emphasis to that coming up to Fort Worth.
How has the reception been to that over the last, say, few years? How has the trucking changed when it comes to health and well-being?
I'd say it's changing every single day, because what's crazy is ever since I kind of entered into this, the conversation's only gotten louder with guys like Dr. Mark Manera, with guys like Jeremy Renner, like jumping in on this fight of seeing how many years can come off the life of a driver just from the job. And just even from what I'm doing too, I'm in the middle of training for Ironman events to raise awareness about this. And I've recruited companies within the industry to jump in on this, like Green Screens. And I know their CEO sits on the BCS board. So this is a company that is showing we have a stake in this. We care about the largest stakeholder of the industry, the driver. We're sending this, former trucker turned triathlete to these events. We have Mark Manera. His name is on my tri-suit. I have a beverage brand, Super Coffee, that's getting into truck stops or in QTs. Like, they want to get themselves this healthier, better for you option in front of drivers, because they know that this is an issue where the environment needs to change. And so I'd say over the past few years, more than ever, it's definitely getting better. We're not there yet. I think it's a brick by brick foundation. We're just going to keep laying it.
And I'll just say this, if anybody wonders if you have credibility to talk about this, and for everybody that doesn't know it, Michael Lombard not only drove a truck, but ran marathons and trained for marathons while driving the truck. How many marathons did you complete while you were driving truck?
While I was over the road, I ran 5 total marathons, one of which I actually hauled a load to. I took a load from Pryor, Oklahoma to Spokane, Washington to run in Missoula.
You rolled up with your truck, you got out of the truck, went to the starting line, ran your marathon, got back in the truck, and delivered the load. Come on, man. That's epic.
Yeah, on the marathon course in Missoula, I ran past my truck. You start like outside of Missoula, and the Loves is like a couple miles in the distance. I ran right by it.
Oh, that's hilarious,
Nice.
man. That is so good. Well, listen, man, we're so excited you're part of the Broker Care Summit, that you're going to be there on stage, delivering your message and helping carriers and brokers now really think about their health and how they can take care of themselves in order to take care of one another, man. Thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you in Fort Worth, my friend.
Absolutely. Looking forward to catch you guys later.
Man, I'll tell you what, the people that we have come into this event, I'm so excited. I mean, not only do we have guys like Michael, Troy's going to be there, obviously. Andrew Silver's going to be there. Hopefully we'll get him on this show as well to talk about that. Don's going to be there. Some great speakers, people who are in the trenches doing the work. Adam Wingfield, Melanie Patterson, just so many Nick Dangles. There's so many great people that are going to be a part of this conference. I just can't wait, man. I'm so excited about it.
I can't either. It's a great group of people. There's not these cliques. It is really small business focused, right? Brokers and carriers, again, looking to make deals.
That's
and
right. That's
and
right.
learn more about each other in the industry and what matters to them.
Yep.
And that's the content that is on point at every broker carrier summit.
That's right. We got 2 more guests to bring up real quick, but make
Good.
sure that you register today. Go to brokercarriersummit.com and get registered. Make sure you sign up for the Post and Pray Classic Golf Tournament. We cannot wait to see people down in Fort Worth.
And our next guest is Blake, right? We're going with
That's
Blake
right.
next.
Come on, Blake.
Lappan.
What's up, buddy?
Hey!
Oh,
Coming
we're
up
not
here
seeing
on
this.
screen here. You know,
Oh, I'm
the
not seeing
drum
this screen
roll.
just
Get the
yet.
drum
Hold
roll
on.
going.
We're going to try it one more time. Your video's not playing. Give me
Yeah.
just 1 second here. Let's bring it back up. Let's see if it works. Looks like he's frozen. Hey, Blake, why don't you hop out of it and hop back in, and we'll get you on towards the end. We'll bring up Steve real quick. All right, hop out and hop back into the StreamYard, and we'll get you on. All right, so let's bring up Steve here.
Yeah.
Steve, you've moved up in the lineup, my friend.
Look at that. Look at that. Good afternoon,
So this
gentlemen.
is Steve Talamo of Cleves Logistics. Now, Steve, we brought you on the show today. You're not speaking at this event, but man, you are a regular attender at the Broker Carrier Summit, and we wanted to get your perspective, man. What did you like? When was the first one that you came to? Which one? Which edition?
Well, you actually just said I'm not speaking. I'm actually on a panel with
Oh, you are on a
with-
panel. That's right.
Yeah,
I knew
I'm on a
that.
panel with Jeff and Dale and Matthew Leffner talking about.
That's
safety
right.
and
That's right. So
compliance.
I'm sorry,
right.
I missed that. That's
Very good.
not my area of expertise. But talk about when was your first attendance at the summit?
So the first one I went to was Tampa. So
All of us, yeah.
yeah. So I
Same
found it
initiation
there.
class right here.
Yep. So I heard about it through the Logistics Lounge. Actually, is where I heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
Pedro
anybody
Potato,
like that.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Good
I didn't know
dudes.
anybody. Yeah, I didn't know anybody when I got there, and I tell this story all the time, which is pretty funny. So it was intro. You know, only a few people were there, kind of talking, mingling, and I was standing outside, and I was talking to this lady, and introduced myself to her, and she's like, "Do you know my husband?" I was like, "No, who's your husband?" She's like, "Oh, my husband's Jeff Dickinson," and I didn't even know who Jeff was at the time. And she took me,
the bodacious cowboy, everybody,
Yeah,
in case you're wondering.
she took me inside, interrupted Jeff. I don't even know who he was talking to, and interrupted him to introduce me as her new friend to Jeff. And then Jeff and I kind of grew a friendship from there. And he's helped me with a lot of stuff going along the way. So that's one of the main things I love about it is the partnerships. And Kevin mentioned a minute ago about like no clicks. I mean, it don't matter who you're talking to, Trey. Like you, Dan, whoever, right? I mean, everybody's just there to help each other, and there's no clicks down there. Love it.
Yeah, there's a great spirit of collaboration among the Broker Carrier Summit. And again, I think it has to go back to the certified non-scumbag mark.
Yep.
Like we're trying to find people that are wanting to do the right things, that are going to treat the other party the way they want to be treated, that brokers are going to provide the right information and answer the phone and help out that driver at the locations they're not aware of, and drivers that are going to answer the phone and communicate well and give updates and just take care of that load just like it's their own. Like people that want to do the right thing are the people that we want to come to this thing. And it makes a difference when you get the right people in the room,
And this crowd we've gotten to because, it takes time, expense to take it out of your schedule, to travel across the country, to sit down, and you have to be serious about it to do that. And I think that's what we find in the audience. Everyone there is serious about addressing these concerns.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, listen, Steve, we're excited that you're attending another event and you're speaking this time. So what's talk just real briefly about the panel that you're on? What's the name of it, if you remember, and what's it about?
Yeah, it's about safety and compliance. So I'll be touching a lot on the carrier side of the safety, pre-trip, stuff like that with Jeff, and a lot of just the compliance of being having an authority.
Got it. Yeah. And then, there's a lot of little tips and tricks along the way that, especially if you're a new carrier out there, or maybe just not quite as seasoned, man, there's a lot you can learn from this event. There's a lot of educational sessions that are going to take place primarily on Thursday. That's going to be the big day, is Thursday, the 24th. And Steve's going to have that breakout either in the morning or afternoon. I'm not sure which session, but it'll be one of those times. But Steve, we're excited that you're going to be a part of this event and for supporting the BCS. It's owners and carriers like yourself that make the difference out there, man. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the first one that I went to, down in Tampa, I met it was in one of the breakouts with I think it was Bang and Dale, and it was talking about carrier and broker calibration. And I asked the question in there. I said, why is it that brokers only send out? Because I was with PepsiCo for 25 years, so it was all about customer service for me. And when I opened this business, the one thing that stood out to me was brokers only cared about hearing, what's your cheapest rate? What's your best rate? And so I brought it up in that breakout session. I said, does nobody, the brokers, we not care about customer service? And right off the bat, this guy Mike, broker, and Raphael came up to me and was like, I want to do business with you. So I have literally been doing business with the two of them since.
Man, how great is that? That's
that
just
conversation.
Music to my ears, man. Well, again, we're excited that you're coming to the event. Who knows what's going to happen at this one? The partnerships are going to be made. The friendships are going to be forged. The business opportunities are going to come from it. But thank you for being a part and supporting it, man. We'll see you in Fort Worth real soon.
Sounds good. Take care. Thanks.
Oh man, like that's just music to my ears. I love hearing from attendees and hearing their, and now he's totally vested. He's speaking now. So I didn't even realize he was speaking. It's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, the agenda has grown so much over the few times that it's been held. That it's just
we're getting it dialed in little by little.
I know,
we're
right? Just outstanding growth, a lot of moving parts. Well,
let's bring in our last guest. Let's round this out and finish this first episode. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Blake Lappan coming back, right?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I can forgive it, man, because you're at Table Rock Lake in Branson, Missouri. That's my favorite spot in the state of Missouri.
Oh, nice.
It's the best lake. It's beautiful. It's a rocky base lake, so it's clear. It's clean. It's kind of in the Ozark Mountains, so the wind doesn't really hit it. It is like glass at 6 a.m. It is so beautiful there. Are you guys on the lake? Where are you at?
We're at the I don't know what this place is called. I'm at the MOTA conference, the Missouri Trucking Association conference.
Oh, nice.
So that's why I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah,
tell them about the Broker Carrier Summit. Go down there and tell them they got to sign up and get some people down there.
Trust and believe. What do you mean? I asked everybody that's here if they're going to be there.
That's right.
Because they need to know about this. I'm similar to the last gentleman there. I got bit by the bug. Kansas City was the first one, and that was enough for me, man. I've been to a whole bunch of them since then, and before then, and it's not the same. It's a very, very, very well-rounded and well laid out situation for us to go and make as many contacts as humanly possible, and that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk about what you're looking forward to about this event. What you got on your mind when you think about Fort Worth?
Yeah, well, I got I'm going to moderate a panel on exception management. Detention is the buzzword that we're going to use because that's one everybody knows well and experiences almost daily. So we're gonna bring together a carrier, a broker, a driver, and a shipper. So my favorite part is the shipper, and we were blessed enough to get Rob Haddock to come be part of this panel. And for those that don't know, he spent 43 years at Coca-Cola, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's about 7 or so of his final years as the North America logistics, guy.
Wow,
North America,
career, man. That's
it is, and he had a mission that was, let's fix this cog in the wheel at Coca-Cola that people don't want to pick up at our facilities or don't want to come here because it takes too long, and let's really look at that from a carrier perspective and change relationship. I don't want to take all of his good content because he's got such good things to say. So I'm very, very blessed to have him as part of that. So my passion for detention comes from all the ways I've experienced it. Everything from a driver multiple times pulling reefer, all the way down to being a small fleet owner and dealing with it on the regular spot loads the spot loads we do that we've never been before. We don't know what to expect. I mean, it's all the time. So it's a very important issue. And there's a lot of contributors, way outside of detention. Detention's like 10% of the fallout, kind of. There's a lot of other things in there that we do that I don't know why we do, like planning the whole entire load over a 0.1% chance of a flat tire, or like making the whole plan over a small exception percent is just, that's how we do it, and so us as a company is trying to solve that too. So it's really exciting. Very excited to be done.
What's interesting is as you're talking, I'm thinking, man, we probably ought to get Marina Brown in on this session, or at least attend this session, just be in it, because she's building technology to manage detention and accessorials and some of these exceptions in real time, which right now often doesn't happen. And it can save a lot of time and a lot of money, make sure drivers get paid, make sure brokers get paid, on the pass through from shippers and all that. So I'm thinking we may have to make that happen. I may have to recommend that and see if we can get her down there, because I think that would add even more to this session, or just having her in the room might be really good. So that's
right when the questions start. Yeah, she can be the one that leads something like that, because that'd be really good.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, Blake, listen, man, I'm jealous that you're at the lake and I'm not, but I'm also really excited that we're going to see you down in Fort Worth here in just about 4 weeks. and for you being a part of a panel and moderating that. Because again, it takes so many volunteers to make this thing work, and we have so many incredible people that not only come to this event, but then take the time to put together a panel that's really going to help a lot of carriers out there and brokers understanding this process and how they can work together. So thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
I absolutely appreciate y'all for doing this, and anything I can do to help, let me know.
Absolutely, man. Now go enjoy the lake, man.
It's great to see you. We met in Kansas City, and now that I can see you on my screen, I'm like, oh yeah, we had a great conversation.
You got that face
in Kansas City, and that's what it's all about, right?
It really is. It really is. I came out with way more contacts from that than any other one. You know, learning at the other ones maybe is the same-ish, but the context is what's most important. And now we have 30% of the freight going on with brokers. 30% of the freight is moved on a broker now. That's a big number.
Yeah. It's a big chunk.
It really changes this. It makes this exponentially more critical than when it was 5 or 10%. You know, it's a lot more important we get together now because customers are choosing that method. So,
all right. So before we get you out of here, I have to ask: are you going to take the under or the over on 100 bald heads in Fort Worth? You're one of them. What are we going to take?
Under? Yeah, under on 100. I would, under on 100.
What if it was 50? Would you take the over on 50?
Yeah.
I
would take the over on 50. So
we'll have multiple prop bets for the Broker Carrier Summit. We'll have to put that out there and have a little fun with that. Steve, hey, listen, man, go enjoy the lake. Thanks for being on the show, man. Appreciate you.
I'm actually going back to the office because the convention's done. I'm not at that place where I get to relax.
Well, get out there and enjoy it a little bit. It's so beautiful, man. All right, we'll see you, Steve. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, just listening to the speakers, I am more excited now than even just 30 minutes ago when we started this thing, Kevin. It's going to be great.
Same.
So much fun.
It is. It's going to be fun. It's down here, just down the road for me. I wish I could go somewhere, but it's going to be at my home court. And,
I know, man. I'm kind of jealous, man. I don't know if I'll ever get it to St. Louis. Kansas City was close. My mom lives there, but not close enough. But either way, before we go, let's just remind everybody, there's plenty of time to register. Go to brokercarriersummit.com. Get registered today. You can use the coupon code BETA, B-E-T-A. That's my company, B-E-T-A. I think that Brush Pass might have one as well, BPR. Whatever you want to try, get 10% off, and make sure that when you get down to the summit that you come up and introduce yourself. We want to meet you face to face, get to know who you are and how we can best help you out. And thank you for being a part of that. Kevin, I'm so excited you're part of the board now, and we're going to be doing some exciting things. We got a new website. We got some media coming out. We got a lot of things to announce. Can't announce it all, but that's going to be great. I'll see you next Thursday, same time, 11:30 a.m. Central, for the Road to the Summit, presented by our friends over at TAFS. And we'll see you real soon, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Definitely. Take care, everybody.
Peace out, everybody. Take care.